Event Horizon from 1997 was originally a much longer film, with the original cut being around 130 minutes. It was insanely gory, and barely any of that has surfaced over the years, with the rest either deteriorating in a Transylvanian salt mine or on a VHS in a Spanish basement somewhere. But today I wanted to take a look at as much of this stuff as I can and take you guys along for the ride. Let's get into it. Event Horizon wasn't really a movie I was aware of until the mid-2010s. And when I first saw it, I loved it. I knew I wanted to know more about this movie. And so first, I want to explain what happened and why there is more than one version of the movie. Then we'll talk about lost footage and deleted scenes, then move on to resurfaced footage before finishing up with the alternate endings. So this movie was edited on a major time crunch. And because of that, the original assembled first cut was around 130 minutes. It was long, and it was a first cut too, not even intended by Anderson to be final by any means. With the film's first cut deadline, they screened the film and had a ton of negative reactions, mostly to how gory it was. It was like an assault on the senses, and reportedly, one person fainted during this screening. But come on, how many times have we heard that? Usually it's just a marketing thing. If this cut made some pansy faint, I want to see that cut. And that's exactly what they want to accomplish by getting that out there, you know. So after this, according to director Paul W.S. Anderson, the remaining footage was sent to be stored in a Transylvanian salt mine, which is a story in itself. I would watch a movie about some nerds traveling to this salt mine and trying to find and restore this footage. Apparently though, when special edition DVDs became a thing, they tried to do this around 2006 for this DVD release, which is where a lot of the footage that we're going to look at later does come from. And apparently they found the footage hadn't been stored properly and it was too damaged to be used. The only bit of hope we do have is that years ago, Anderson mentioned that the film's producer, Lloyd Levin, found an old VHS copy that might be of the original cut. And when asked about it again in 2017, he said no one had watched it yet, which is just a damn shame. So let's talk about some of these deleted scenes and lost footage. This cut apparently had a lot more stuff centered around the supporting cast. It would dive into their fears a little bit more, like Cooper being afraid to lose someone he cares about, or how DJ's body scar was the result of childhood surgeries and his ultimate fears being dissected alive. There's also a moment where Dr. Weir hallucinated Justin turning into his dead wife, staring back at him.
Which is where Weir is looking at Justin in the tank. Justin changes into Weir's wife. And it was a really creepy image. It's a shame we couldn't actually find the footage of it, but I just wanted to talk about it here.
Apparently the flashes of his dead wife were more of a scene in the film, and because of that, a lot was more brutal and bloody. This is stuff we don't have too much evidence of, but there's resources out there. Then the special edition DVD managed to find some of this stuff. The first one is a briefing scene on the ship that really establishes the newly found again Event Horizon, and the effects haven't really been completed yet, and you can see the green screen in the window instead of, outer space. Sam Neill sits down with these superiors and he's informed of, the situation. You can tell how excited he is in this scene that the ship has been found.
With respect, Admiral, I have to go with them.
Dr. Weir, you have no experience with salvage procedure.
And he isn't as concerned about a search and rescue as much as his, superiors. To try to persuade him out of it, they play him a recording that sounds just like screaming cosmic horror space sounds, and it's beautiful and haunting. It's not a bad scene either, to be honest. It gives us slightly more context and maybe more insight into Dr. Weir's, vulnerability and true motivations. But overall, nothing that isn't already accomplished later in the film. There's a moment where Miller is exploring the ship early on, and everyone is watching him on a monitor, and he comes across a weird floating object. He snatches it out of the air, only to realize later it's a human tooth with gnarly bits of flesh still attached to it.
So it's just like someone had ripped it out with a pair of pliers. And it was a truly disturbing image.
Anderson stated on the DVD that basically this just took too long to play out in the movie, and that's why they cut it from the final film. Unsettling stuff like this, though, is what we all want out of a director's cut of this movie. There's also a bit more to the scene where Miller discovers DJ's body in the medical bay, and it's just a really cool set piece and scene already, but this just, pushes it over. It gives it a little bit more.
The main changes are we did some close-ups where you see his intestines laid on the table and then a reflection of his body hanging.
The best stuff, though, comes from the climax. During the scene where the cryo tank fills with blood, there's a bit more inserted, and we see full demon mode Dr. Weir crawling down the ladder upside down like Exorcist spider style while smiling and blood splashes all around. It might be the fucking coolest thing that's ever been put to film. Why was it not in the movie, damn it? Sorry. I'll calm down. The DVD commentary for this reveals this was in the second cut of the film, and they ended up cutting a lot of this out to appease the studio because of the gore criticisms. But this is too iconic to be lost media, and I'm glad we get to feast our eyes on it together, because out of everything that was cut from the film, I think this is the best thing. And it's amazing. It's just so creepy. When watching this, you can see how much went into the costume effects for Sam Neill's character too. It's just insanely detailed and gruesome as hell. Then we have the iconic blood orgy sequence. This is the best part of the movie, and definitely something that was cut down and changed a lot from the original version. In the final version of the film, the crew is viewing video of the previous crew murdering and attacking each other. You see a lot of graphic stuff in a short period of time. But, this sequence was a lot longer. The editing for this movie, as we mentioned before, was a rushed job, and that's really why the first cut was so much longer. There wasn't enough time to really hash out and make all these decisions of what do I need to keep yet. It was barely assembled. This means there were super long shots of extreme violence and gore in this cut. Effects artist Dave Bonniwell, who worked on the film, has detailed what was shot, but later cut out of the blood orgy scene. He said Anderson told him to come up with creative effects for the scene, and they would later pick which ones they liked best. Which ended up being, according to him, a woman being held down while screws are drilled into her teeth, a man's legs getting beaten with pipes till they are pulp, a woman's breast being torn off. Among these were various bites, wounds, and, other blood and gore. Apparently, the original version made it clear that a lot more sex acts were happening as well. What could have been had we, seen this full movie play out, This is what movie studios take from us. The first ending we'll talk about is the one that was actually shot, and that you can actually partially see on the special edition DVD, called Burning Man ending. In this one, instead of Weir, you'd see Korik, a crew member from a failed mission of Miller's who burned to death, and this is a character that he feels guilty about because he had to lock, in this spaceship or whatever. He taunts Miller before flames chase Miller down the hall into the main room. Korik appears inside and hits Miller across the room. He catches fire and splashes down to the blood that's pooled up. So Miller's kind of like haunted by these visions throughout, right? And at the end, he has to confront his biggest regrets in life, and he serves as the final obstacle for him to overcome. From what I've read, it seems that test audiences preferred the ending with Weir. But this one would go deeper into Miller's guilt, and that in itself just shows how the Event Horizon is fucking with these people in their heads. Then we have what's referred to as the Screaming Ship ending. This is one of the scripted endings that would see Stark hearing the disembodied screams of the dead crew of the ship. She ends up rescued with Cooper, but the implied trauma, I suppose, would work well. Overall, I don't think we're ever going to get to see this version of the film, or anything close for that matter, but we can dream. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Have you seen any of this stuff? Are you a big fan of Event Horizon? I'd love to hear from you.